Welcome back to Movie Idol. So in this video, I want to break down the episode 3 trailer for Game of Thrones. Obviously, be careful for spoilers for tonight's episode of Game of Thrones. A lot of big things happening for episode 3. The episode is going to be super massive, not just with events and like deaths and whatnot, because it's going to be the big battle of Winterfell that everyone's been hyping for the last, I don't even know how many weeks. But the runtime is super long. It's over an hour. So I think some people are saying it's like 88 minutes or it's an hour and a half or it's like 70 something or 80 minutes around there. The first 2 episodes have been about 55 minutes. So it's going to be much longer, which I mean, you can expect there's going to be a crazy moments. Like you thought Hardhome was amazing. Just wait. You thought Battle of the Bastards was amazing. I mean, just wait until you watch next week's episode. And which I'm hoping it's going to be good. Like, it's Game of Thrones. They haven't really failed me in terms of my expectations. Like, maybe certain moments in season 7, I've been like, I don't know, just not really that big of a fan of. Like, at the end of the season, a lot of the stuff beyond the wall was really cool to see, but it felt very rushed. And so I'm hoping tonight's or next week's episode isn't going to feel that way. Since episode 2 ends with them arriving to Winterfell, I'm really excited because I don't think we're going to be focusing on a lot of prep. Maybe the first 10 minutes or so focuses on our characters doing other things while the Night King slowly approaches. But the Night King is there. Like Daenerys says in this trailer, the dead's already here. That is literally what this trailer is about. And I mean, I guess it really isn't that surprising. I didn't expect HBO to reveal a lot of footage for next week's episode. I mean, there's so much hype for it already. The ratings are so massive. Episode 1's ratings came in at like 17.4 million viewers. That's just crazy. I've never seen ratings like that besides The Walking Dead back in its heyday. Like, Game of Thrones is just super popular. Also, you have to take into consideration that HBO is different than AMC because HBO is a subscription service. So people are actually paying for this. Also, it's being pirated like crazy. So this show is just insane right now in popularity. I don't even know if there's ever been a show out there like this. Every shot in this trailer, like 60 to 70% of the trailer, is just everyone reacting to the fact that the Night King is there and the fact that this battle is coming. Like, we have Sansa and Arya, to Davos, just expecting them to be here at any moment, to Jorah, to Jon and Daenerys. Dany actually says something that has me a little curious to the end game, or I guess to what's going on right now between her and Jon and what's going to happen next with their relationship. Dany says the dead is already here, but it's her tone and how she says it, which I'm a little curious as to how it's going to play out. Like, it sounds like, and it could just be me, but it sounds like she's a little angry at Jon. Like, Jon is saying something like, the Night King is coming, with her just saying, well, the dead are already here, but it's her tone. Like I said, I could be reading into this a little bit too much, but it seems like the tone in Daenerys' voice here hints at like this really intense tension between them, because she didn't take the news. If you watch episode 2 at the very ending, she didn't take that news well at all. She was angry, but again, we were interrupted. We didn't get to see what she was going to do with that. So I'm thinking that, like, just her tone in this moment here, there's this feud erupting between both of them, in my opinion anyways. I think that's exactly what's happening. I don't think we're going to get much of it in episode 3. I really think episode 3, in the very beginning, we might see little things here and there. We'll see them clash about what to do and whatnot, and we'll see Daenerys questioning, should she really even be with Jon? Are they going to be together? What's happening with that? Because I think this is going to be further explored in episode 4 and in episode 5, especially in episode 4. One weird thing that came to my mind, and I don't think it's actually going to play out this way because I don't think Daenerys is that type of character, but you never know, but it's, what if Dany doesn't really care to fight this battle as much as she thought? Again, I don't see Daenerys actually leaving, but it would be really interesting to see, like, am I only here because Jon is here? Do I really care about fighting the Night King? Because is that something Daenerys could do? Could she just leave Winterfell with her dragons? Maybe that's why they lose Winterfell. Maybe something happens between Jon and Daenerys, and maybe when Jon gets back to King's Landing, maybe he's siding with Cersei with something because Daenerys is really out of control, but then the Night King is on his way. Maybe there's like a 4-way battle going on between Jon, Cersei, Daenerys, and the Night King. Probably not. I mean, I'm being a little too crazy, but I feel like there's just something more to it. Like, it can't be just that predictable. Like, the way I see the series going right now, whatever happens at this battle here, Jon and Daenerys are going to go to King's Landing. They're going to confront Cersei. There's going to be a battle going on there. The Night King is going to be right behind them. We're going to get a lot of death in episode 3. They might make an alliance. Jon Snow might, side with Cersei, or bend the knee to Cersei to get her to fight the Night King because they need the Golden Company to fight. And then maybe they defeat the Night King at the end, and then we get this last final battle between Cersei and Jon, and just a fight for the throne. The throne is destroyed, and then everyone lives happily ever after with some character deaths. Maybe Tyrion dies, maybe Jon dies, or Daenerys dies. I don't know. I feel like it just can't be that simple. There's something to this ending, at least I'm hoping anyways, that hasn't been explained to us yet, because we're a third done this season now. Isn't that crazy? We're already a third done this season. We see Arya running from something in this trailer, and to me, obviously it probably has to be a White Walker, but for some reason I feel like it's Jaqen H'ghar, like the Faceless Man. I don't know. I have this feeling that it's going to be him. There's all that Syrio Forel theory stuff that was going on a couple years ago. I feel like the Faceless Man story has been wrapped up with her. I don't see her story just ending here in Winterfell. Like, everything that happened to her in the past is just done now. She trained in that, and that's sort of, I think something else is going to happen here. But again, that's probably just me with my tinfoil hat on, right? Beautiful shot, though, of the Night King on a dragon. Holy crap. I really want to have a dragon fight between Daenerys on Drogon, maybe even Jon on Rhaegal, with the Night King on Viserion. Even with just Daenerys and the Night King, just having that, wow, that would be so crazy. I do have a question for you guys here. I can't really tell, but is Jon in the God's Wood in this shot? Because we know that Bran is going to be waiting there for the Night King. We know Jon's going to be around to wait for that moment, and Theon as well. So is that what this shot is related to here? Is it somewhere near there and Jon is expecting the Night King to show up? Maybe he does show up and he's running towards him here. The final shot of this trailer is of Brienne yelling, "Stand your ground." And yeah, that's, like I said, this trailer really just hypes up episode 3. And most of it is just everybody's reaction to the Army of the Dead finally arriving and the fact that this battle is actually going to be happening. So overall, my predictions for episode 3, the battle's going to happen. It's going to be a really, really intense battle with multiple storylines happening everywhere. I think that's why the episode is so long. Like, the Battle of the Bastards, I think for that episode, I think like half an hour of it was the actual battle, but other stuff was like the build up to the battle and the aftermath of what happened to Ramsay. I think in this episode we're going to get like 10 minutes of that, but we're not going to get a lot because they don't need to do that. They set that up in episode 2. I think there's going to be a lot of deaths, or at least not a lot of deaths. Like Brienne, I think is going to die, and Grey Worm, I think is going to die. I think both of them are going to die. Though there's a chance that Missandei, there's a chance she could die and that Grey Worm would just return her body back to Nath. They mentioned that in episode 2 that she wants to go back there, and so I can see that being, I guess, the final goodbye to Grey Worm, that he's going to return her back there. Not alive, but I could see it playing out in that way, potentially anyways. Also, I think the people in the crypts of Winterfell, I think are probably going to be chased out. I doubt they're all going to be safe there. For one, who's going to win this battle? Well, I think the Army of the Dead is going to win the battle. There's no way that they're just going to defeat the Night King in this episode. I just don't see that happening because there's 3 more episodes left. Yes, they do have to wrap up some of the character storylines, the whole purpose of the Iron Throne, but this moment has been building up throughout the entire series. There's no way they're just going to wrap it up in one episode. No matter how amazing this episode's going to be, there's no way they're just going to wrap it up in this episode. And if they do, and even if it's done really well, I will feel a little disappointed in it because it was just, just to have it finished and done just that quick. If it wraps up in episode 4, maybe that's kind of cool. I don't know. I feel like this Night King thing, I think it needs to wrap up in episode 5, to be honest. In my opinion, I think it needs to wrap up in episode 5, with episode 6 being what happens with the Iron Throne and I guess to end the series. I think episode 5, the Night King needs to die, or Bran's gonna die. Is Bran the Night King? Is that weird theory true? A lot of the revelations behind the Night King, can he talk? What are his true motives? Is it what Bran said he was? Like, I think all that's gonna be revealed. Maybe it's revealed beforehand, but I think the Night King's story needs to come to an end in episode 5, not in episode 3, because like I said, I feel like it would be a little too quick for that to happen. Are any of the main characters going to die? I don't see it. I don't see like Tyrion dying or Jon dying or Daenerys dying, Bran, any of the Starks. I don't see any of them dying. I don't see the Hound dying. It's possible that Beric dies, but I don't see the Hound dying because I really am hoping for Clegane Bowl. I know a lot of people don't, or some people anyways, don't want that to happen because it's just too fan servicey, but I mean, they've been hinting at this from the beginning of the series, so I hope we get that, and I think we will in episode 4 or 5 when Jon and them evacuate from Winterfell and head down to King's Landing to get their help, which I don't know how they're going to do that because they have the dead coming at them, going to literally kill them, and they're going to be heading down to King's Landing wanting her help, but then they want to kill them too, so it's just going to be like this sandwich of death. But those are my predictions for episode 3. Again, I'm super hyped. Make sure to post your predictions down below. What do you think is going to be happening in episode 3? Who do you think is going to die? What do you think is going to happen between Jon and Daenerys? What will the status be of Winterfell after this episode is over? Do you think it's going to be completely destroyed? Do you think that teaser we got a few weeks ago of the Night King walking through the gates of Winterfell towards King's Landing, do you think there's something in that? I mean, I know that trailer or that teaser trailer was more symbolic, like it was just sort of a tease as to what to expect, but with no real footage. But do you think the overall meaning of that is hinting at, yeah, they're probably going to lose Winterfell? Because, I mean, how can they keep Winterfell? You know what I mean? Like what, the Army of the Dead, which has just been hyped up forever, they're just going to lose the hands of Winterfell and everybody coming to their aid? No, I don't see that. I literally don't see that. I think that's why I'm super excited for episode 3. I think it could really be one of the greatest episodes of Game of Thrones. I think it might be the greatest episode of the season. And the reason is because I think the bad guy is going to win. Like, that's sort of a thing I feel like for me personally, and if you guys might feel the same, but I love when the bad guy wins. Like, I think that's why I loved Infinity War so much, because Thanos won. I think that's why my favorite episode of Game of Thrones so far is Hardhome, because the bad guy won. You know, like that was a massacre at Hardhome. It was so brutal, and at the end, you just felt like you can't beat this. And so I'm hoping at the end of episode 3, after we see just, you know, this amazing fight, that at the end, we're going to feel like, how are they going to beat this? How can they beat the Night King? There's no way. Maybe it's because of Viserion. Maybe it's because, you know, he has a lot of White Walkers. I think Jaime mentioned in episode 2 that the Night King isn't going to reveal his location. So how are you going to defeat him? Maybe he can't be killed. Maybe there's just something weird to that. Maybe that's revealed in episode 3. Whatever it is, I hope episode 3 ends like that, and I feel like it's going to. Again, I think Winterfell's going to be lost. But post your thoughts down below. Stay tuned for more Game of Thrones videos coming this week, and I'll see you in the next one.